Namaskar, myself Reni Khurana, Assistant Professor, Faculty Physiotherapy and Diagnostics, JVN, Rajasthan. Today we are going to discuss about gait assessment in neurological disorders. Multiple systems are required for proper walking, such as those responsible for sensory and motor functions, including reflexes, as well as the cerebellum and the vestibular system. During the examination of patient's gait, particularly attention should be paid to body and limb postures. Example, base of support and arm swing, steps including length, speed and rhythm, steadiness and turning. Now first is observation of casual gait. It is used to detect gait abnormalities by examining the patient asked to walk a few steps forward and backward. Normal gait is steady with natural arm swing. Next is heel to toe walking. It is used to assess ataxia of vestibular, sensory or cerebellar type. By examining, the patient is asked to place one foot directly in front of the other as if walking on a tight rope. The test is positive when the patient is unable or has difficulty in placing one foot directly in front of the other. Next test is foot drop test. Foot drop test is used to assess neuropathic gait. By the examination, the patient is asked to walk on his heels, and the patient is asked to walk on his toes. When patient is walking on his heels, if the test is positive, indicates patient is unable to walk on his heel, which may be indicative of deep fibular nerve lesion or peripheral neuropathies. The test is positive in case when the patient is walk on his toes, positive when the patient is unable to walk on his toes, which may indicate tibial nerve lesion or peripheral neuropathies. Romberg test. Romberg test is used to assess ataxia for vestibular, sensory and cerebellar types, and it also may help to distinguish between sensory and cerebellar ataxia. It is examined by asking the patient to stand with both feet together, raise the arms and close the eyes. Test is positive in case of the patient's coordination is impaired when the eyes are closed and the patient starts swing and swing increases. It indicates sensory ataxia, and an increased tendency to fall sideways after closing eyes can also indicate a vestibular disorder. In the case of unilateral vestibular disorder, the patient usually falls towards the side of the lesion. Romberg test is negative in cases of uncontrollable swing, even with the eyes open, is indicative of cerebellar ataxia. And in second condition, this test is negative when the closing the eyes does not affect the patient's balance, that is, swing does not increase. Next test is walking on tiptoes. As I said above, the patient is asked to walk on toes, and the test is positive when the patient is unable to walk on his toes, which may indicate tibial nerve lesion or peripheral neuropathy. Next test of gait is Unterberger test. It is used to detect the presence of vestibular or cerebellar lesions by examining the patient to ask walk on the spot with their eyes closed for 50 paces. This test is positive when the patient rotates more than 45 degrees around the central axis. and a positive test indicates a cerebellar lesion or vestibular impairment. Next test for gait is Trendelenburg sign. Trendelenburg sign is a test for neurological insufficiency of gluteus medius and gluteus minimus muscle, which are innervated by superior gluteal nerve. This is examined by asking the patient to stand on one leg. Negative Trendelenburg sign, that is physiological, in which the pelvis remains level as it is stabilized by gluteus medius and minimus. Positive Trendelenburg sign, which is pathological, it is because of insufficiency of gluteus medius and minimus on the side of the standing leg. The pelvis drops towards the contralateral unimpaired side. Duchenne sign, in this the torso tilts towards the contralateral side, compensating the pelvic drop on the unimpaired side. And Duchenne limp, in this the Duchenne sign, which frequently occur bilaterally, results in a compensatory to and from movement of the torso during walking. Now moving towards abnormal gait patterns. Abnormal gait patterns includes hemiplegic gait, myopathic gait, neuropathic gait, ataxic gait, Parkinson's disease, gait apraxia, coriform gait, and sensory ataxic gait. And these abnormal gait patterns associated with diseases such as stroke, myopathies including muscular dystrophy or inflammatory myopathy, peroneal nerve palsy, L5 radiculopathy, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, peripheral neuropathies including Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, diabetic neuropathy, cerebellar diseases, acute alcohol intoxication, Parkinson's diseases due to medication, repeated head trauma, bilateral frontal lobe disorders, cerebrovascular disease, Huntington's disease, syndrome chorea, disorders of the dorsal column including vitamin B12 deficiency and Davis dorsalis, and other disorder associated with these abnormal gait patterns is peripheral neuropathy. Now moving towards sensory ataxic gait. What is sensory ataxic gait? It is unsteady stomping gait in which the patient may lift the leg higher than the usual and slam the foot onto the floor because of deficits in proprioception. Gait is exacerbated when patients cannot see their feet, example in the dark, and in this case Romberg test is positive. And sensory ataxic gait is commonly seen in disorders of dorsal column and peripheral neuropathies. Now, what is coriform gait? Coriform gait, in which walking is associated with irregular, jerky, and involuntary movements in the limbs. This coriform gait is seen in the Huntington's disease and syndrome chorea. Now, the gait apraxia. Gait apraxia describes inability to raise the foot off the floor, that is magnetic gait, which results in shuffling, characterized by poor balance and truncal mobility and difficulty initiating steps. This gait apraxia, seen in bilateral frontal lobe disorders and cerebrovascular disease. Now, what is Parkinsonism gait? This is characterized by small, slow steps, that is bradykinesia, shuffling, and sometimes accelerating with the head, neck, and trunk leaning forward and flexion at the knees, along with difficulty initiating steps due to rigidity. This Parkinsonism gait is a clinical landmark for Parkinson's disease due to medication or repeated head trauma. Now, what is the ataxic gait? Ataxic gait is a wide-based, unsteady and clumsy gait characterized by inability to walk from heel to toe or in a straight line. This ataxic gait seen in cerebellar diseases and acute alcohol intoxication. Next gait is neuropathic gait. Neuropathic gait seen in patients with unilateral or bilateral foot drop, that is the weakness of foot dorsiflexion, who lift one or both legs when walking respectively in order to prevent the foot dragging on the floor. This neuropathic gait commonly seen when unilaterally due to peroneal nerve palsy and L5 radiculopathy. And in case of bilateral involvement of neuropathic gait, which is seen in amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, diabetic neuropathy, and other peripheral neuropathies. Now moving towards next abnormal gait, that is myopathic gait, in which drop of pelvis on the unaffected side. As said above, it is Trendelenburg sign. Drop of the pelvis on unaffected side or on both sides, that is waddling when walking, respectively caused by unilateral or bilateral weakness of one or multiple pelvic girdle muscles, especially gluteus muscles. I repeat, when the drop of pelvis on the unaffected side, it may be seen as Trendelenburg sign, or if the drop of pelvis on the both sides, that is shown waddling gait when walking. This myopathic gait seen in myopathies, example muscular dystrophy and other inflammatory myopathies. Now the last abnormal gait pattern is hemiplegic gait. Hemiplegic gait characterized by loss of natural arm swing and dragging of the affected leg in a semicircle or circumduction, or hemiplegic gait on the affected side, in which arm may be flexed, adducted and internally rotated while the leg is extended and the foot is plantar flexed. This hemiplegic gait seen in stroke patients. Now summarized the abnormal gait patterns. Abnormal gait patterns examples are hemiplegic gait, which is seen in stroke patients, myopathic gait seen in myopathies, neuropathic gait seen in peroneal nerve palsy, L5 radiculopathy, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, peripheral neuropathies, Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease, diabetic neuropathy, ataxic gait seen in cerebellar diseases, acute alcohol intoxications, Parkinsonism gait seen in Parkinsonism due to medications or repeated head trauma, gait apraxia seen in bilateral frontal lobe disorders and cerebrovascular disease, coriform gait seen in Huntington's disease and Syndrome chorea, and sensory ataxic gait seen in disorders of dorsal column and peripheral neuropathies. Thank you.